Hello people, so welcome to my review of Super Dragon Ball Heroes Big Bad Mission Chapter 7. Now we reach the space-time war. In honest opinion, this is where I think the Big Bad Mission kind of drags on a little bit too long, especially in the promotional anime. Now, I'm pretty much sure that the manga is going to fill in the fine points to add details to make it more appealing and more exciting. And we got that in this chapter, but just my level of interest is not what it was when it comes to having characters like Towa and Roberu clash, characters like that interacting, because we don't get that all that often. Either way, this chapter was actually pretty good. Start to space-time war arc. One thing that was constant is they wanted to get through the Frieza and Cooler team up against Goku and Hearts so fucking fast. It's ridiculous, because by the end of this chapter, we've already reached the fight between Kumba, Turles, and against Vegeta on planet Vegeta, which I'll get back into because I think it's going to have more of an impact in the manga than in the anime. We start off this chapter, chapter 7, with Goku trying to use instant teleportation, instant transmission, to try and scan around, see if he can find life forms, since he's on a mirror universe that resembles Universe 7. Obviously, we know nobody's there. If you've watched the anime, you know what goes down. It's the same thing here, though I will say the way with Goku, he uses instant teleportation to scan because he sends the key of Frieza, and once you know it, Frieza was the first one on Earth to actually greet Goku. And I actually like the fact we got dialogue between the two, because in the anime it literally started with Goku running away from both Cooler and Frieza on their ships, which made no sense because I don't think guns or blasts from their ships are going to do anything to a character that's God tier plus. So yeah, that never made any sense to me. So I'm glad they kind of spice things up a little bit, and instead of having the ships pursue Goku, it starts with Frieza, and Goku immediately senses Metacooler is on his trail and literally teleports as well, because he can do instant transmission too. We know this. So he teleports right beside Goku, kicks Goku, or at least attempts to kick Goku with backflips, gain some distance. So it doesn't take long for the action to pick up. And this is something that I said when this came out in the episode. I actually appreciated the episode because we don't get to see a team interaction between Cooler and Frieza. In fact, we have never seen interactions between the two, for one reason or another. Obviously because Cooler's non-canon and Frieza is canon. And a lot of people speculated because of the way Dragon Ball Super Broly and how the movie ended, with Frieza saying he needs somebody else to even up the playing field against Goku and Vegeta, and a lot of people thinking that Cooler could be included and made canon. So, but Super Dragon Ball Heroes did it first, and here you go. So I actually appreciate that. Immediately we get exchanging dialogue between the two, because it says, "Could be you extended an invitation to him, brother. You have my gratitude for giving me the opportunity to kill him." So typical Frieza, and then Cooler just Frieza, let me show you how it's done. Speed blitzes in front of Goku, kicks him in the stomach, and by the way, he's in his base Metal Cooler format, I guess you want to call it, because we know he can go golden. But then Frieza tags along, and he actually double team kick to actually send Goku back. I think it happened in the anime, but it was more detailed here. So they nail Goku, and they're about to hit the death beam or blast Goku and say, "Goodbye, Son Goku." I love the dialogue they have before they do this. It's I would not have I thought I would be teaming up with you. And then Cooler responds, if it's to kill him, then by any means. So the closest we got to this type of interaction between Frieza and someone that's similar is, I guess, Frost from Dragon Ball Super in the Tournament of Power. This, to me, is the direction they should go in if they ever decide to in Dragon Ball Super. Because what we got here was grade A stuff, especially with what happens next. So Metacooler and Frieza, they're about to blast Goku with a death beam, and they got Goku pretty much pinned now, so he's not going anywhere. But out of nowhere, in comes Hearts like a pimp, much like he did in the anime, only instead of restricted, I think it was their entire body, he restricts their arms so they can't move, prevents them from taking out Goku. And I like how casual he is about his reintroduction, because it's and we know it's Hearts because of the cubes, but Frieza's "Who might you be?" and Hearts is "My name is of no importance, but if you insist, why not try calling me God hater. Now, I like this because in the Universal Conflict Dawn of War arc, Hearts had the God Slayer form, but here he's like referred to me as the God Hater. So I like he's keeping that consistency because he has a disdain hatred for gods, with the exception of Goku and Vegeta, or at least he's willing to work with them for a common cause. I like this touch of detail as well because Cooler thinks back, hey, that's the guy who was with the evil Saiyan, Hearts. So I like Cooler resembles that because they reference the fact that Cooler had with Kumba in this chapter. Then Hearts just manipulates the cube right between Frieza and Cooler and just sends them flying. Again, the interaction between Hearts and Goku in this chapter was actually pretty good as well. Goku is like, hey Hearts, you're still alive? Oh no, you've got a halo above your head, which goes back in touch for what we found out about Demigra was the one that released Hearts from the prison cell in Hell. So, and in the manga we actually see it. In the anime we don't get to see it, we just hear about it later on. But then he responds to Goku with a question, hey, what was with that mask? And Goku's like, what mask? What are you talking about? And then Hearts is like, no, never mind. If it's not you, then fine. But obviously referring to Goku Black, because as we know, he's also a part of this arc with a mask, and he's not the only Goku lookalike. Spoiler warning in this arc. But Frieza gets pissed because he's like, don't interfere. Frieza tries to attack Hearts, but Frieza's not able to land a blow. Hearts is dodging pretty casually. It is Hearts reading through Frieza's hearts, and that's how he's able to predict Frieza's moves, because Cooler kind of says, hey Frieza, you might want to cool it, no pun intended. You're wasting the time because this guy can read his opponent's hearts. And Goku kind of remembers this, where Goku actually activates Ultra Instinct, but you don't get to see too much of it. He goes into Ultra Instinct sign and just nails a blow on Frieza. Then we got the interaction between Hearts and Cooler, where he kind of brings up the whole situation with Kumba, and Cooler was the one that clashed with him and kind of left him incapacitated. We know he returns, and especially he returns by the end of this chapter. We kind of get it referenced in the manga. I have not seen this in the manga, but I know what goes down through the anime. I mean, Kumba got defeated pretty soundly by Golden Metal Cooler. And Cooler gives a kind of like a smirk. I see no mercy towards weakened opponent her. Quite the cowardly move you chose. Had you not gone that far, you would not have been able to prove your worth. So he's actually triggering Cooler into attacking because he knows what makes him tick by reading his heart. That I actually appreciate, because he actually gets to Cooler pretty big time, because he literally adds on as an older brother, so he feels like threatened by Frieza. So he wants to live up and actually prove his superior without actually saying it. So Hearts calls this out. Cooler gets triggered. He goes into attack, but that does nothing. He tries to attack Cooler, but to his credit, Cooler is able to dodge this attack. A barrage kicks him, and Hearts is just dodging because obviously he's able to read Cooler's heart because he's getting triggered by this. So avoiding a walk in the park for Hearts. He then activates his golden form. I like this touch too. It's an extra touch of detail I actually appreciate. Then Frieza notices this because he says that brother of mine went golden, so he didn't know. And I love this because back in the Prison Planet arc, when Cooler was like kind of like referencing that Few told him about how Frieza went into his golden form, and then Cooler just like shut that shit down. It's like, hey, whatever Frieza can do, I can do better. So he went into his golden form in the Prison Planet arc in his original state. Now he's in his Metal Cooler form, going into golden. Against Hearts, it still doesn't work because, like I said, he's able to read his heart and dodge. But that's boss level for Hearts. He uses the cube to actually pin down Golden Metal Cooler, which is kind of crazy. He's not in his God Slayer form anymore. He lost that power, so he's still pretty boss level. I just love the way that Hearts is throwing it right back to Cooler because of the way he took down Kumba. Cooler's getting mega triggered. Frieza would be the one getting emotional. Cooler's the one who's more level-headed, but he still has his anger problems. But then Goku's thinking, even without the Universe Seed, he's still pretty strong like Hearts. But then out of nowhere, it comes Timebreaker Goku Black, or at least Masked Goku Black. We still don't know. We may get that answered in the manga as we go along. He notices the mask, and obviously we know that's Goku Black, obviously from the anime. And originally, when he attacks like Cooler and Frieza, it actually literally looks like he's actually killing them until you remember what he does in the anime, and that's implant the Red Star Dragon Ball inside their chest. But it does look kind of hilarious because it looks like he's literally just stabbing them through the chest. He first goes to Cooler. He puts the Dragon Ball in his chest, obviously. So Goku loses his focus because he's literally said, "Oh, I lost my focus." He zones out of Ultra Instinct Sign. Goku Black comes in and actually tries to attack with his Divine Sword, but then Goku Black uses his opportunity to go to Frieza and do the same thing he did to Cooler, and that's pin the Dragon Ball in his chest. Of course, we know what this means. I'm giving you the power, so Goku Black's like, I'm giving you the power, go crazy with it, and we know this gives them a power boost, and that gives Goku and Hearts a bit of problems. They both spike up and they're in the golden form. I really like the shading on this panel where we get to see both Golden Metacooler and Golden Frieza with the Dark Star Dragon Ball. It looks absolutely sick. So I will give the credit where credit is due. The art is superb, and the art has been superb throughout this entire arc thus far. But then immediately, it looks like both of them used Death Beam, and it causes a huge explosion, which forces Hearts and Goku to avoid. But while they're doing this, Metacooler is actually using the Death Beam barrage. And Hearts is like, oh, he stopped thinking. So he's like, I guess he stopped thinking, so he can't read his heart. So that's a problem. Hearts does block the attack, but he gets sent back because Golden Metacooler uses Tail Whip to send Hearts sailing back. So that was actually pretty cool. And then this technique I really like from Cooler. Cooler looked boss level in this chapter, I will say that. Because he activates aura from his finger. Now, I don't know if that's another Death Ball he uses, or if he just triggers an explosion from underneath. Either way, it causes an explosion and it engulfs Hearts. Goku gets distracted by this, and that's where Frieza comes in to try and launch an attack. Goku blocks the attack from Frieza. He gets kicked in the jaw, and it looks like he actually gets binded by Frieza's tail. So then Frieza launches another kick right in Goku's stomach again. And then Frieza comes in again, trying to land the blow, but he can't keep up with Frieza's speed because Frieza's able to dodge like a boss. It looks like to the neck if you look at the panel, but he gets sent by, and Hearts actually ends up helping out Goku here with a cube. So it's like, and Goku's like, oh, thanks for saving me. Hearts is like, don't worry about it, don't mention it. Like I said, I like the team up, I like the interaction between the two because it's something you don't get to see all that often. It's like Frieza and Cooler. We've never seen it, so it's fresh and it's different, and I love that about this. As Super Dragon Ball Heroes, they take that approach with most things. Are they perfect? No. Neither is Dragon Ball Super the last time I checked. And to me, this is the best part of the entire chapter. Because the panel and the shading and the art in this attack is one of the best I've seen in this entire arc. So we got both Frieza and Cooler doing a dual Supernova Blast or a Death Ball, whatever you want to call it. They're both doing it. They're combining their attack to finish off Goku and Hearts. They're not going to be able to dodge this, because they can't move. The blast is coming right towards them, but out of nowhere, the hooded Saiyan, the Saiyan in Dark, comes out of nowhere and just evaporates that blast like it's nothing. So, which I'll get back into that in a minute. And Goku's like, who the hell is that? Frieza and Cooler go charging in. This hooded Saiyan actually kicks Frieza and Cooler at the same time. That's crazy. Frieza tries to attack again, but the Hooded Saiyan is able to use this opening to get the Dragon Ball out of Frieza's chest. He does the same thing to Cooler. That's the end of their power-up, so they're pretty much done at this point. So this is where Goku Black retreats, and then Hearts asks, who are you? But then he disappears, and then Goku asks Hearts, hey, what did you hear, Hearts? Hearts responds, I couldn't hear anything. And then obviously Hearts, we know this from the anime, he gives Goku the sense of being to restore his stamina. I don't know why he didn't give that to Goku in the first place, but be that as it may, doesn't matter. You know what they're up to now. They're looking to collect the Dragon Balls to wish themselves out of this world. And there's a kind of like a comedic gag where Goku's like, say, there's no life forms on this planet. There's no life forms in this copy universe that Few made. But Goku's like more concerned about them not being able to eat anything. And Hearts are like, that's your main priority here. Well, Hearts already has one of the Dragon Balls, so they're going to be Dragon Ball hunting. And go figure, it's the 4-star Dragon Ball, and Goku points this out. They're about to set off, and we know they're going to meet up with Vegeta. Meanwhile, speaking of Vegeta, we go to the planet Vegeta, where Kumba and Turles are squaring off against Vegeta, and it looks like a portion of the fight has already been taking place. Vegeta looks ragged out, and that's how the chapter ends. So we know what's coming based on the episode that we got in episode 35. We know Vegeta goes up against Kumba and Turles, and that's a pretty big episode for Vegeta, for his character. It may, honestly, outside of the Towa Roberu fight, which may be my favourite episode of Super Dragon Ball Heroes, period, even though the fight was a bit short-lived, but I told you the reasons why I liked it. This was actually my second favourite episode out of Super Dragon Ball Heroes. I don't suspect the manga's going to fall too far away from where we go with Vegeta here. It does look like Vegeta's transformed. Now, at first I thought, wait, is he in his blue form or is he in Super Saiyan God? It's hard to tell because of the shading, because I can't tell if he's got the pupils or not. So we'll have to wait and see until the next chapter. There's a part of me that's thinking that's Super Saiyan God. If that's the case, that could play wonders into the next chapter. If that's the case. Or it could just be Vegeta and Super Saiyan Blue. Because that's the way it happened in the anime. And of course we know what happens given from the anime. We know Vegeta's going to get an upgrade. He's not going to go into Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, spoiler alert, but we know he does get an upgrade. And Kumba is going to be the trigger. So I can't wait to see how the manga handles that. The fact that Kumba's already in Super Saiyan 3 appears like it. To me, it looks like this fight's going to be more character driven than it is more than it is about action, in my opinion. Because why else would Kumba be? And he's obviously in Super Saiyan 3 because he has no eyebrows. Turles looks like he's been in a scrap too because he's got a few scratches, but I don't know. We know here he gets long hair too, so I don't know what's going to happen there. When it comes to like the Hooded Saiyan, right? I was going to lead back into this, and when it comes to Hearts, so like I said, I love the interaction, the team up between Golden Metal Cooler and Golden Metal Frieza. To me, the Hooded Saiyan that appears that saves Goku is no question Bardock. There's no doubt in my mind. Because number one, the fact that he's able to brush up Cooler and Frieza's attack, hit their dual supernova attack like it's nothing, yeah. We know how strong Bardock is. In fact, we know this from the current arc that's taking place in the promotional anime. Just look at the episode where he fought Goku. What's interesting about this though, if you remember in episode 34, and I actually went back and watched, it's not this Hooded Saiyan that ends up stopping attacking Goku in Hearts. It's Broly. Broly comes out, he shoots down, and he goes on a rampage. Then the Hooded Saiyan, he lures Broly away. And that's the last we get to see of it. I remember that from the anime. In the manga, they have the Hooded Saiyan appear, and Broly is nowhere in sight. So we know Broly's going to be a factor at some point, you would think. When it comes to like Goku Black in his Time Breaker mask, he's been brought back by the Demon Realm, but we don't get to see to what extent. We never got that in the anime, and it's all pretty much speculative on my part, because I thought Towa and Mira had to be behind this, because who else could be pulling the strings from the Demon Realm outside of Demigras? Now, what's interesting about this, Demigras is the one that brings back a lot of these characters that gets reintroduced in this arc. Spoiler alert, but Cell's another one that ends up coming back. To me, and after this chapter, and after the whole fight between Kumba and Vegeta, in my honest opinion, that's why I think the Big Bang mission kind of drags on a little bit too long, in my honest opinion, because some of the characters that got reintroduced had no business being there because they did absolutely nothing. The Androids were brought back, they did squat. Krillin was brought back, he did squat. The only person that did anything was Gohan, if they brought Gohan in, and that was it. Trunks, I think, is a factor as well. That's fine. Keep anybody else outside of Cell and the characters I just mentioned do not need to be involved in this arc. There's too many faces, and it drags the arc on a little bit too. The height for me has been reached when it comes to like Towa and Roberu clashing. So nothing's going to come close. I thought it was an okay chapter. I love the interaction between Frieza and Cooler, and let's be honest, we're never going to get it in Dragon Ball Super. We never got it in Dragon Ball Z, so why would we get... The closest we got to that is the plan to eradicate the Saiyans, but even then that was very short-lived. So that's going to do it here, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Like the review if you do, thumbs up, I appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel for more Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Catch you guys later. Thanks, guys.